I did feel that I needed to put a video out and share something that the Lord showed me just probably a couple of weeks ago. And this was a dream He gave me, which really I feel like what He is trying to impress on our hearts is that we need to begin to, as the church, really step up to the plate. In this particular dream, I was in it was like a Capitol building, like you would see maybe in Washington, D.C., and I was inside the front doors, and I was on my knees, and I had my hands raised in the air, and I began to sing a song of intercession, and I was just interceding for this nation. And as I was doing this, these two women who work in the government, and they were both in different positions of leadership, came through the door, and they looked at me, and they were puzzled by what I was doing. They didn't understand it. But I continued to intercede. And the next thing that happened in the dream is I saw these two soldiers, British soldiers, and they had like a map of the U.S. on the table. And this was before the colonies had, established the United States of America. And the colonies were obviously at this point not even considered, there wasn't even a consideration that they would have from the Atlantic to the Pacific, because the British soldiers were looking at pretty much part of that landmass, and they were discussing the threat the colonies would be to them if they could control that amount of land. And as I was waking up from the dream, I realized that we had obtained the amount of land that was considered dangerous to the British, and we did become that threat, and much more than that. But the Lord was also showing me that it was all hanging in the balance at this point, that there was no guarantee which way this would go. It was going to depend on how the church responds to the call to intercede right now. And it's really important that that the church understand that this nation has never been in such dire need of intercession. And the church, I know the church is in trouble too. Most of us know there's a lot of the world in the church today, and the church itself needs to be separated from the spirit of this world. And just to give you some understanding, probably 16 years ago, I was attending a church, and I just remember we were located right across the street from a VFW, and the VFW had a pretty big parking lot, and so did we, so everybody would use one another's parking lot, and it was fine for a while. And then something happened, and the church leadership had a falling out with the staff at the VFW, and the next thing you know, they're announcing from the pulpit that they're going to be buying no parking signs for the parking lot. So I was like, wow. I'm pretty young at the time, and I'm thinking, I didn't understand how the church could be sending people to Guatemala. We were spending thousands of dollars sending missionaries to Guatemala to build churches, but we couldn't get along with the people across the street, and I was really confused. So after the service, I went to the pastor, and it was awkward because I felt really intimidated. I couldn't understand why they were doing this, but to question him about it, I felt awkward, but I needed to. I just really didn't understand. So I asked him, I said, something like, is this what you really feel the Lord would have us do? And I remember his response to this day. He said, well, what are we supposed to do? Let them take over the church? And I was shocked. I didn't know what to say at the time. I was pretty young. I didn't understand things the Lord has shown me today, but today I realize that the church has been duped into marrying up with the spirit of this world. And because of that, there's way more concern with the material things of this world than there is for the souls, to win souls for Christ. And so because we have married up with the spirit of this world, the concerns of the church mirror the concerns that you see in the world. So encourage you to make it a matter of prayer. I really encourage you to intercede for the nation and ask God to just get America back on track. Ask for mercy, and ask that if there's judgments that are coming, that if they could somehow be averted. We need to pray. We need to get on our faces before the Lord. A dream I had later, probably a week ago, I was doing the same thing, interceding in the dream, and I fell on my face before the Lord, and the Holy Spirit showed me that the reason that happened is because the Lord is saying He wants the church on their faces before Him, interceding. Okay, so this can be turned around. I truly believe that, but we need, as the church, to step up to the plate, and we need to separate ourselves from this world in order to be that intercessor between God and this world and between God and this nation.